Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Asian Goomba, and I am going to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! BAM deck profile for, I'm going to start this new series where I'll be talking about this game, not really more in the gameplay, but more of sort of like news, what my personal thoughts are on stuff, and yeah, so I hope you guys will enjoy this series, and if you do, go ahead and play the game. It's available on Facebook, and a site I believe it's called like Kongregate, or I don't know. You can Google it. It's on Facebook and something else, but I'm doing it on Facebook page. So let's get right into it. All right. So for those of you, I'll give you a little. I'll show you how to play the game real quick, and then I will do the deck profile. But for those of you who are actually already playing it, you can see my deck right here. I got 2 Helios, 1 BLS, 1 Vampire's Curse, 1 Asar, 1 Light Ray Meteor, 1 Vampire Genesis, 1 Judgment Lord, 1 Zombie Master, 1 Stone Dragon, 1 Evil Star Darwino, 1 Abyss Lead, and 2 Gishki Mirrors, Photo Mirror and Aqua Mirror, and then Dustwind Blast. So here's a little run of how the game works. So basically what happens is you take the you've got, there are plenty of monster cards. The card types here are monsters, friendship cards, which is pretty advanced, and fusion cards, both of those are advanced. Then there's spells and continuous spells. So basically what you do, there are 3 columns, and what happens is you place the monsters in the columns, they battle it out, combining their attack points, and then kind of like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where the person who loses takes damage, otherwise it's just like, the person who would lose takes damage, and then some of them have a lot of special effects and stuff. But in the beginning, you get a lot of cards that look like this. Here, I'll just show you. Let me find. These cards don't have any effect at all. They're just they're the attack points, the defense points, or the health points. Health points are your life points. Basically, what you do for life, you add up all the cards, all the life points of the monsters in your deck, and that becomes your life points. So it doesn't start off at 4,000 or anything, but yeah. So yeah, you start off with stuff like this card, then eventually gets to something with single effect, Farewell. Basically, when this card would die, then you would gain 500 life points. But he's already got 1,200 health, so that's actually not bad. So then eventually you'll be getting to cards like Series 1 BAM Legend here. Stone Dragon is Annihilate spells and sacrifice all spells. So basically, yeah, they're actually not that bad. But yeah, eventually you'll get to. I've got my collection of BAM Legend cards here. So these are all from doing the star challenges. I'll get into that a little more. But yeah, so this card is First Strike 1,000 and Sneak. Sneak is destroy the opponent's monster before it attacks. Basically, kind of like an Allied Justice Catastor. But instead of the attack ending right after that, then they still take the 900. But yeah. So let me see what else. There's Solemn Judgment, which is obviously not a monster, but in this game it's a spellcaster. Courage 1,000, which means if it's the only monster on your side of the field when you click BAM, then his attack goes up by 1,000. Then there's also Annihilate Spells, which destroys the opponent's spells. But yeah, so then eventually after that, there's a second series, so Series 2, Commons. You'll start with the stuff that kind of looks like this. Let me just find it real quick. You'll start with the Augusto deck, which is pretty much, it has this symbol here. The Series 1 cards have the triangle, while these guys have the pentagon. So then there are a lot of cool cards in this game. So the idea is pretty much the same. Reduce your opponent's life points to 0, or actually there's a maximum of 20 turns in the game. So yeah. So people have crazy amounts of life points. So see, your life points are the total life points of the monsters in your deck, and then basically, yeah. So let's see. I got pictures here. There is. Let's see. So these are not. I don't own every single card in the game, obviously, because I don't play as much as other people do. Other people play actually spend money and stuff on the game. I tried spending money. That's how I got this card, this card, this card. Let me see what else. These two, and some other pretty good stuff. So let's go back to the meta cards. Basically, for you players, you can once you've gotten into as advanced as I've gotten, you'll see. I guess I'll explain how this game works. All right, or how my deck works. So for the players who already have played this game, Helios, the Primordial Sun, resurrects one power monster. Basically, since he's a pyro, it will resurrect the one in the graveyard. And Big Explosion 1500. So I like this card because it's just a loop between these two, and I never play more than one. I always try and at least revive my other Helios back, so I can just restart the loop again. And it has really good defense or health, so that's why I like that card. BLS is amazing, sneak, and pretty much opponent loses 300 for every monster on the field that's destroyed. So that's awesome. It's got the stats are kind of like the ones in TCG. The stats are actually not bad. Because Sneak 3000 is actually pretty good. So yeah, I like this card. Sneak pretty much. So the main cards in the game that are problematic, I'll just bring it up here. Because I don't actually own these cards. So they're Aurora, the Northern Lights. So for those players who you don't know, it's at round start. This monster gains 2,000 power for every other monster you have on the field. If you have 3 monsters, the card gains immunity. Pretty much every time you play against them, they'll always gain 4,000 and then gain immunity. It has too much health. I mean, that's too good. This card is too good. So, but yeah, Aurora is one of the main problematic cards in the game. I don't really like it. It's very annoying to deal with. So these are all pretty much the good cards, Bam Legends. Let's see. What else is problematic? I don't really see people use this card. It's not very good, though, because it can only gain maximum of 3,000. So, some other meta cards. Gateway to the Dark World. This card is amazing. Retire at round start. Return up to 3 random monsters. So, basically, this card is pretty much like, kind of like, I would say, Pot of Avarice for those of you guys who play the game, play TCG. Basically, it's continuous, so it stays on the field, and it will. If your deck is dark monsters, then you basically win at that point, because you'll pretty much never lose. At the beginning of the game, the cards you have are like probably the best card you have, like Harpy Lady Scissors, where eventually it's a point where you have 3 cards and the opponent has 0, and you just keep hitting them in the face until the game ends. So yeah, Jinzo is another problematic card. So basically, it has too many. What I would say is, to summarize it, it has way too many effects because it gains immunity at round start if your opponent plays a spell card, and a lot of the not so meta but more like sort of quote tier 2, tier 3 cards will play spells. So Jinzo will murder them and say no, only my cards will be able to have immunity. And yeah, so it basically, when it comes to his turn, he nukes all your spells, and then and breaks all the immunity. So this card has too much power, attack power. It has too much effect, too good effects, and well, the health. I'm glad it's only at 500, but it should be at 0 because that card is too good. So I'll show you after I find one more meta card, and I'll show you how my deck counters that. Alright. Is that it? Oh, Toy Magician. Okay. So, Toy Magician, basically at round start, if the opponent plays a spell, all your monsters gain immunity, and he nukes all the spells. So, yeah, Toy Magician is a more safer play between him and Jinzo, since Toy Magician actually has better health, but Jinzo has more special effects, so that's always good. So yeah, my deck can counter that. So what I like to nuke. I already went through this. This gets rid of pretty much any meta card that doesn't have an immunity, and along with Asar, which is break immunity all, then it's amazing. Light Ray Medora resurrects the spells, pretty much. That's all I really like it, and it's also immune, which is nice. Also has unbelievably high health, so that's too good. Vampire's Curse and Zombie Master, all for Vampire Genesis to just get back. Just because it's shared fate all anyway, and Farewell 1500. Zombie Master resurrect everything. That's what it does. Vampire Genesis is probably one of the better cards in the game. If you have like 2-3 of these and run no other zombie monsters, you basically can't lose, because Vampire Genesis, basically what happens if any of your monsters would die, if any of your monsters die, he resurrects one zombie monster from your graveyard, which basically means shuffle it back into the deck like a pot of avarice, sort of. Um, pot of dichotomy, whatever it is right now. But basically, yeah, and then if he dies, then you gain 3,000 life points, which is amazing. And his health is at 2,700. That's way too good. And yeah, so basically you can pretty much loop with this card. If you have 2 or 3 copies of it, then you just keep you'll just keep healing, and then the opponent will just keep losing life points and all that. So, but the one problem with this card is that if you want to run 3 copies of it, and you've only got one in your hand, and this is the only card in your graveyard, or when he dies, then he resurrects this, then you're screwed, because then you won't be able to get anything back. Lawful Judgment Lord, Big Explosion, 2,000, which I think is pretty good. Mermail Bistlead. This is probably one of the most overpowered cards in the game. It's very simple, but yet the combination is pretty good. Mermail Bistlead gets immunity. So basically, sorry, I forgot to explain what immunity does. So immunity basically makes the monster that is immune basically pretty much unaffected by anything, and it can't die, and you won't lose life points. So it's kind of like a marshmallow or something, but yet, so it's kind of like a marshmallow that can attack while in defense mode. If like he's equipped to, I don't know, like Axe of Despair or something, I don't know, but yeah, Mermail Bistlead, growth. He doubles his attack power, so he'll just stay immune and play defensive until he gets enough power to kill the opponent. Evil Star Darwinno is pretty much a staple. Kills all the level 6 or more higher monsters. If you can see, all the monsters I have here are level 6 and higher. So yeah, Evil Star Darwinno kills pretty much any problematic cards that you need. You always put him in the first channel, which is the first row. Stone Dragon I'll get to later. So I run 3 spells, which is Gishki Photo Mirror, which is when he dies, then you gain 3,000 and the opponent loses 3,000. This card is pretty much the same thing, except instead of gaining, it's your monsters all gain 1,500 and all the opponents lose 500. So this makes it a 2,000 point difference extra. And then Dustflame Blast is probably the best card in the deck. When it dies, all the opponent's monsters lose their immunity and die. So this card with Stone Dragons kills your own spells. So basically, once Dustflame Blast dies, then he nukes all the opponents, no matter if they have immunity or not. So that's why I like this deck. This is anti-meta, basically. But yeah, so let's go back to this deck. So this is another collection. I got like this card, Big Explosion. I used to abuse this card a lot. So in this game, there are really abusive cards that are so much better. Like in the real game, they may not be as good, but in this game they are amazing. So one example is Light Imprisoning Mirror. Destroy all the opponent's light monsters, and for each one, you gain 7,000 life points, which I think is personally amazing. I used to play it before I got this anti-meta deck. My anti-meta deck is probably a really good deck. But yeah, so basically I think my deck really loses to this card. Let's see, the 1, 2, 3, 4 lights. I used to run. My friend runs AZ and Oshawott runs a light deck, so this card shuts his deck down. Yeah, unless I have Destroy spell, but yeah, that doesn't really matter. So like cards like Abyss Megalo, they pretty much usually keep the stats. If not, they alter it a little bit. Like this thing is 24. The attack and defense are switched, but yeah. So if you guys wanna, I don't really want to read over every single card and tell you what it does and my thoughts on it. But yeah, some more meta cards like Magic Drain. For every monster that dies, you gain 700 and the opponent loses 700. So that's really good, because if you use something like Dark World Dealings, let me just find it real quick. So Dark World Dealings is probably this is also another deck that a lot of people use. So Dark World Dealings right here. So it's sacrifice all monsters and opponent loses 5,000 life points. So if you sacrifice a monster that has something like Shared Fate All or Big Explosion, then their effects actually kick in. It's not when it's destroyed; it's when it's pretty much sent to your graveyard. But yeah, I think that's pretty much pretty like nasty stuff, I guess. this card is destroy monster and annihilate spells. So destroy monster, it's annihilate means everything the opponent controls, and destroy means the one in this column. So yeah, a lot of these cards are just like broken. This card is Necro Heal 300. So Necros basically are powered from the graveyard, and you get Necro Heal is 300, and then added to the number, and the number in the red is the number of cards in your graveyard. If you have 3, then it's times 300. So then it would be you would gain 1200, since 900 plus 300 is 1200. This is the opposite. Necro hurt opponent, 300 plus 300 for each one. Unite We Stand is a friendship card. Basically, what that does is it boosts your monster by 100 plus however many friends you have times 100, and you'll gain that many life points. But then one of the cards you get in the much earlier area is probably White Hole, which is immunes all monsters, which is probably I used to think it was probably the best card, so I wanted to get 3 copies of it. But then again, if you see my lot of decks like that run stuff like Jinzo kill that aspect. So then a White Hole would become really useless. I mean, people now use it 1 maybe, but yeah, this is probably the most basic and best basic card that you'll be getting. So yeah, I'll show you my Water Shockwave deck too. Oh, this deck's not complete. Okay. But yeah, basically, what the Water Shockwave deck does is it pretty much kills your opponent by pretty much basically most of the monsters have an effect called Shockwave, which is when he gains attack, then the opponent loses life points. So he boosts all Aqua monsters by 200, and he's an Aqua, so he'll go to 700, and then the opponent will lose 1200. Now, Turtle Tiger boosts himself by 200 and Shockwave's 1000. This thing is Shockwave 2000, which is probably the most broken card in the deck. But yeah, this deck is a more basic deck than my anti-meta, even though I don't really use this very often. I only use it for fun, because it is actually a very good deck at the beginning of the game. Probably about, I don't know, Series 1 at the end. But yeah, I'm making this video really long. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to play the game, I'll have a link in the description. But let me know if you guys like this series, because I really like this series. I like talking to you guys, both Yu-Gi-Oh, all the card games and stuff. Since this is my primary channel, like I want you guys to all know what I'm up to. But yeah, that's why I don't really. I used to be able to upload probably about every day or so. That's why this is probably the reason. Like but yeah. I actually have a big collection. I need to sell some stuff, but yeah, I guess I'll be ending the video. There is also a blog for this. I'll leave that in the description as well. But yeah, this game is really fun. There's also a BAM Pocket game, so yeah, you can pretty much. But I guess that's about it. This is Agent Goomba out. Have fun, enjoy your day, and I end my turn. Go!